Efrat Israel on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. In talking about today's Parsha, which is Parsha Shelach in Eretz Yisrael, Parsha Shelach in Eretz Yisrael, it is still Parsha Balotcha in the rest of the world, but we'll talk about Shelach. Excuse me, and I'll mention at the end a little connection between the two Parshot. The subject I want to talk about today is what we can learn from protests. We have witnessed the last couple of weeks in the United States and in many parts of the world what started out as peaceful protests turning into violent and criminal conduct. We all know that the Torah is not just a book of stories. It's not a history book. It's a book from which we can learn lessons every single moment, lessons about the lives we lead now. So my question is, what does Parsha Shelach teach us about protests and about what can happen with lofty ideals that go astray? So let's set the stage. Parsha Shelach is about Bnei Israel, the Jewish people in the desert, just as they're not very far out of Egypt, and we've already received the Ten Commandments, we received the Seres Dibros, and they want to send spies to the land of Canaan to look out the land of Canaan. So the Parsha starts by Daber Shem Moshe. God said to Moshe, Lamor, saying, Shalach lecha anashim v'yoshuru es Eretz Canaan. Send out spies to spy out the land of Canaan, asher ani nosei l'bnei Yisrael, that I'm giving to the children of Israel. And who are these spies? You wouldn't think that in sending spies to spy out a land that may be hostile, you would send very leaders of the country, but in fact what Moshe did. He sent the heads of each tribe, 12 spies. And Rashi points out that these people were not only the heads of their tribes, they were all righteous people, tzaddikim, as it's referred to. But what happened? They went and spied out the land, and they brought back some of the beautiful things of the land. And they said, yes, truly the land is a great land, but we can't possibly conquer it. 10 of the spies had completely turned around and were now saying negative things about the land of Israel. What was the punishment? The punishment was, God said, well, in that case, you're not going to go into the land of Israel for 40 years. Those of you who are saying these negative things, and the whole generation who was ready to go and who was pushing these people, they're not going to go into Eretz Yisrael. You're going to wander in the desert for 40 more years. And of course, a great weeping started out, and Hashem said, you will know that this night, this very day that you're weeping, you'll be weeping every single year forever. And truly in history, this day became Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of Av, where so many tragedies have happened to the Jewish people. But what was really going on here? First of all, it seems that Moshe wanted to send these people. And Rashi says, if you want to send them, go ahead and send them. Well, Moshe had one thought. He thought of sending them to look at the spirituality of the land, but they had another thought. And what happened? Rashi points out that in Parsha Devorim, in the first Parsha of Devorim, it says Moshe is recounting what happened. And he says, Vatikru elai kulchem, you all came to me, but Tomer, you said, Nishlichu anoshim lefonenu, send people before us for Yachbaro as Horetz, and so on, and they'll spy out the land. And Rashi says, on that pasuk, he says, Ba'arbuvia, they came as a mob, they came as a crowd pushing into Moshe. And Rashi goes on to say, it's not like we say further on in Devorim, where the elders, the heads of the tribe, and the elders approached, and then the rest of the tribes with respect. Here they approached Moshe without respect. The young were pushing the old. They demonstrated a lack of respect. That lack of respect is a foundational piece of the Torah. The respect that we must have for each other, the respect that we must have for everybody's property. How did these people, these righteous people, 10 of them, be infected with this malady of disrespect? But the Talmud tells us that shlucho shel adam kamoso, the agent of a person is like the principal who sends him. He stands in his shoes. So they became, basically, by being pushed to them, by being connected, they picked up this lack of respect. And that's why, even though they had a lofty goal, it didn't help. The lofty goal was weakened, adulterated because of this disrespect. And I submit that's what we see happening now in our cities in the United States, throughout the world. There's a lofty goal of protesting a grave injustice. But this lofty goal got taken over, got usurped by those who wanted to instead destroy property, beat people, show disrespect. Disrespect is the very anathema to Torah. Torah wants us to have respect. Now, what is the connection between this Parsha Shelach and last week's Parsha Balotcha? The end of Parsha Balotcha, we have the story of Miriam saying gossip to her brother Aaron about Moshe, about Moses, talking about his wife. And the gossip that she was saying was true, but nonetheless, it was gossip. You're not allowed to talk about other people. That's an aspect of respect as well. And what happened to Miriam? She was punished. This Parsha follows just after that. Everybody saw the punishment that she had, but yet they didn't learn from it. Sometimes people see something and it doesn't sink in. They deny that there's a message there for them as well. We learn from the disrespect and the lashon hara, the negativity, the gossip that Miriam spoke. Rashi points out that just as we see that he quotes Reb Natan, who says Miriam had no intention to really hurt Moshe or to disparage him. And we can see that because she was punished so severely, all the more so of somebody who intentionally speaks disparagement of somebody else, disrespect of somebody else. So I think the message we have to learn from this Parsha, we have to learn it from our lives, from what's going on today, is that no matter what our goals, we can only reach them with respect, with love of one another, respect of person, respect of property. You do not attain your lofty goals by burning buildings, by beating people, by showing disrespect. The Torah teaches that, and it's no coincidence that this Parsha comes out now during this time of great unrest. And my hope is that we can all learn from this. A message of how to treat each other. Thank you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. Shabbat Shalom.